guys, hey, it is your girl So Fashion Week TV and the place to be, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, guys, we are going to be doing a little story time. Yes. Video, something that just recently happened, and while it's fresh in my mind, I figured I would come on here, talk about it, and we'll probably upload this as a TED Talk Tuesday. Let me get the date for you because your girl has the police report right here. Okay, so on the afternoon or the evening of 2/4/2020, your girl got into a car accident. It would have been somewhere around 3:45 4 p.m. on the afternoon of February 4th, 2020, and I was at work. This is kind of like a normal day for me during these hours. I'm at work, and I received a text from my mom, and it was a group text, so it's myself and maybe 9 to 10 others on a group text. If you've been following my 2020 vlogs, then you know I did talk about a cousin of mine who had fallen ill, and she was in the hospital. And so we had gotten a text that was a little bit concerning, and so my mother had asked if there was anyone close enough to the hospital to go over there. And so as you can imagine, when you receive a text like that, everyone becomes, you know, really nervous, and your first thought is to get to your loved one as soon as you possibly can. And so since I do work in Newark, New Jersey, and my cousin was in a hospital in Jersey City, which is not really far from each other. I mean, the distance between the two towns is probably less than 3 miles. So I figured that I would, you know, go over there to check on my cousin to make sure that everything was okay. And so it just so happens that when I responded to my mom to tell her that I would go, another cousin who works not too far from me said that he would go along with me, but would I be able to pick him up? And so he works, I mean, not even 10 minutes from me. So I told him that I would pick him up to be ready in 10 or so minutes, that I would be down. And so I alerted my boss that I needed to leave because of a family emergency. And I jumped in my car and I head over to pick up my cousin. And so I am driving down the road, and I am in the far left lane. So there is a lane to my right that's typically like a bus lane, because there are a lot of buses that are typically around in that area, because it's like a mass transit area. And so I always try to steer clear of the right lane, because there's always buses, you know, stopping very frequently. So I was in the left lane, and I was traveling northbound to go pick up my cousin. And so as I was doing that, a woman was trying to merge into my lane, and she clipped me in the back. So she hit me as she was trying to merge into the lane. I was already past her, and she hit me in the on the rear passenger side. She hit my tire, and in doing that, she knocked off my fender flare in the back. So as you guys know, I recently purchased a 2008 Jeep Wrangler, so my truck sits a bit high. So my car does sit higher than like a regular sedan. And so like I said, she clipped me in the rear, and she took out my fender flare. And so, you know, quite naturally, I'm like, oh my God, did she just hit me? So I slowed down, I brought my car to a complete stop, and then I hear yelling. Take a look. And so I hear yelling, and I hear this woman saying that, you know, she wants to fight me, and I mean, she's just going ballistic.
You call my daughter? Call my daughter. What I'm calling my daughter for? Now I want to fight. Call your fucking daughter. I call the police. I want my cousin an officer. She already on her way. I ain't worried about that. Good. Call your daughter, bro. Good. Call your daughter. Good. Call your daughter, man. You recording me. I don't give a fuck. I ain't touch you. You recording me? I ain't touch your car. No, I didn't, motherfucker. My mother.
I'm like, okay, this was like a simple fender bender. I hadn't even gotten out of my car to assess the damage, but I can see this woman out of my rear view mirror picking up what I now know was my fender flare and throwing it at a vehicle that was traveling southbound. Not only did she throw the fender flare, but she also threw her cell phone at the vehicle. So I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with this woman? And so, you know, I've always been the type of person that if I know that I'm right about a thing, then there's no reason to get riled up and upset and out of sorts. And so in my mind, I'm thinking that I could be the voice of reason in this situation. But I did heed the command from the officer, which was to stay in my vehicle and not get out. Now, this was a retired police officer that does security in the area, so he really wasn't within jurisdiction to like take a police report or anything. And again, because I really hadn't assessed the damage of my car, all I knew was that it was drivable, and that typically in a situation where your car is drivable, you wouldn't necessarily need to call the police. But because this woman was being so unreasonable, I had no other choice but to call the police. We didn't get to the hospital to check on my cousin until very, very late in the evening, and thankfully she was okay. But, you know, getting into this situation with this woman who was enraged, she was being completely unreasonable and just very threatening. You know, it raises an eye to how grateful I am for technology, because I was able to record this incident. Because in this situation, it kind of shines a light on just the mental health situation that we sometimes want to sweep under the rug. This woman was enraged over a car. I had just purchased my vehicle, albeit a 2008, but I had only had the car for a couple of weeks when she ran into the side of my car, and she was insistent that I hit her, and she was enraged, and there was nothing that anyone could do to talk any sense into her, to calm her down. I mean, it just went from bad to worse. I did finally receive the police report, and so I wanted to share with you guys what the police report said. And so I can give this doesn't have any personal information or anything on it, but this is the police report here. And now I'm driver in vehicle 1. So driver in vehicle 1 stated she was traveling westbound on Raymond Boulevard when vehicle 2 struck her on the passenger's rear side. Driver 1 refused emergency medical services, and there were no tows. So driver vehicle 2 stated she was traveling westbound on Raymond Boulevard. She then put her left turn signal light and noticed no vehicles. Driver in vehicle 2 stated as she was merging to the left lane, vehicle 1 struck her on the front driver's side. Driver number 2 refused emergency medical services, and there were no tows. Okay. And so this is the diagram that shows the woman, or that shows the accident, where this is me and this is her hitting me in the rear. You know, You know, I don't know. Sometimes it's just not worth it. You know, when you're out here and you're being loud, just loud, and you're wrong, in the end, is it really worth it? You know, I really feel sorry for this woman, and I hope and pray that she is able to get her car fixed and that she realizes the error of her ways and she tries to improve upon the rage that lives inside of her. I mean, you know, we go through life and we have a number of challenges. There are a number of things that may be going on, you know, personal problems, family issues, just mental health issues in general. And while, you know, this woman's rage was directed at me, she wanted to bring harm to me. She wanted to bring harm to my unborn child. I don't even have a daughter. She wanted to fight my daughter. Even though she did all those things, you know, my heart goes out to this woman and I'm praying for her. Yeah, I'm really praying for this woman. I'm praying that her mental capacity improves and that she's able to deal with situations that prove difficult way better as time goes on. Because listen, the way she handled this situation was really, really poor, and I am just so thankful that it happened, and it happened with me and not someone else. You know, woman to woman, you know, black woman to black woman, this type of behavior is just not cool, and it could have gotten her in a lot of trouble had she walked up on someone who was just really, really not here for that type of behavior and wanted to see her in a bad situation. I mean, this could have turned really bad. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what would have happened if I would have gotten out of the car. God only knows what this woman would have done. But if you're ever in a situation like that, and, you know, I would urge you to just keep your cool, keep your head, keep a clear head, and exercise your right to record the situation so that you have it as proof, because you never know when you may need to reach back and pull for that information. I'm not angry at her. I'm not mad at her. I am, you know, simply coming here and sharing this story with you guys, my loved ones, so that you can take care when you're out and about and you get into situations similar to this. I never ever thought that I would be faced with a situation and really have to make a decision, you know, as to whether I should, you know, be proud and get out of the car and defend myself, or just sit back, relax, let go, and let God. And so I'm glad that this situation did not end in either of us getting into any trouble or getting hurt in any way. I am glad that both of us was able to walk away from this incident alive and well. And I wish that woman well. I do wish her well, and I hope that, you know, the next time that she's in a situation like this, she handles it better.